Hello, my name is Ripster. I figured that I should make this introduction, this sort of basic introduction about the stuff that I'm talking about in these videos, in these talks, and what exactly is going on. Just some of the basics of my contemporary theory. And eventually I'll make history videos on past theories, because I have been developing theories for over 3 years now. But my current contemporary theory is very different from anything that I had that I had before, and I think it's worth sort of just making a little basic introduction video on my current theory, so that my other videos will make more sense, and my future videos will make more sense. So, I have no name for my current theory yet, but we can just call it the contemporary theory. The contemporary theory is it includes the idea that there are at least two realities. There's a reality that is my true reality, the reality I was meant to be in, and there's the reality that is my false reality, which is the reality that I'm currently in. It's a reality that I was born in, but I'm not meant to be here. And I know that I'm not meant to be here based mostly off of feeling. I've attempted to gather proof and evidence before, but none of this evidence is ever valid for other people. When other people see it, they don't see anything. They don't see the things that I see. Instead, they just see normal images, and they call me crazy, and it's a pointless task. It really is. So there's no point in trying to prove it. And that was one of the main issues with my past theories, but I'm not going to get into those in this video. But in this new contemporary theory, I'm not focusing on facts. I'm not trying to prove myself to people. Instead, I'm simply focusing on documenting my own experiences for myself, and I'm also making them public just in case anybody needs them, or, you can check out the last talk if you're more curious on the ideas that on why I make these public. But so my current contemporary theory. So there's two realities, and I'm meant to be in one, my true reality, which is what I call MTR, but I'm instead spend most of my time in MFR, which is my false reality. And there's this sort of constant battle, this constant dissonance in my head of when I'm in MFR, where I just feel like I shouldn't actually be here. And then there are sensitive areas, and if you're curious what sensitive areas are, you can check the first video. But there are sensitive areas that I can go to, and this doesn't just happen in them, but it happens especially in them, where I feel much closer to my true reality, MTR. And when I feel closer to MTR, there's a lot of things that happen. I feel a lot of different ways. It's very extreme. It isn't a subtle thing at all. It's very obvious and it's very clear. And I can take pictures and such, and to me, it's fairly clear that they are not purely in MFR, but to other people it just looks like it's in MFR completely, and there's no sort of sign of MTR or anything different. But anyway, so my contemporary theory, so that's the main idea of it, and I've been collecting evidence, not really evidence, but just information for 3 years now, over 3 years now. But for my contemporary theory, I've only been doing it for about, I don't even know, I'm not really sure, over a month. It's just been getting more and more intense, I guess. I only started writing my book, and I'm writing this book. This book is going to be a full documentation of absolutely everything. It's going to have all of the history. It's going to have information about all of the theories. It's going to have information about my current theory. It's going to answer questions. It's going to be incredible. It's going to have everything in it. And I've been writing that for about 2 or 3 weeks now. Let's just say 3 weeks. And I'm making good progress on it. It is going to be fascinating for myself as well as other people, because it's very important. It's a very valuable resource for myself. As I am making progress, I can go back and keep track of certain things and compare certain things, and it's fantastic to have. But so that's my contemporary theory, and the feelings relating to this are so extreme that I know I can tell you one thing at least, that something is wrong with my existence. That is the one thing I can tell you for sure. Everything else I'm not saying is absolutely certain. I'm giving my best theory, my best hypotheses based on what is around me, what I can see, what I can observe, everything. It's my best theory. It isn't fact, But I will tell you one fact, and that fact is that there is something wrong with my existence. That's sort of the baseline, I can tell you that. And so this is worth exploring because there's so much dissonance and hell in my head already, and this relieves some of that, and so it's worth exploring in the first place, even if it turns out that my theory is wrong again, because it's fairly clear to me that the 3 theories I came up with before getting to my 4th theory, which is the contemporary theory, were not correct. They certainly do not seem to be correct anymore, and I'm willing to risk that this theory might be wrong as well, but at least I am making progress with every wrong theory. I get closer to the right one, because at least I can eliminate one, and so this is all worth it for me. And so back to my contemporary theory. So the 2 realities. You might wonder, are there more than 2 realities? And I don't know. And it doesn't really concern me. It would be interesting if there's more than 2 realities, but I know that I'm from one, and it seems I'm in another, and I'm from one and I'm in another, and so there's 2. So I know that there's 2 realities. Are there more? Maybe, but it doesn't really concern me. So, if I ever find out, I'll document it. But I'm not going to go out of my way to try and find different realities, especially because it's really tough to know. Before in my very first theory, and again, I'll make a history video on my other theories at some point, but in my very first video, in my very first theory, I thought that there were many different realms. That's what I called them. I called them realms. And I thought that there were many, I documented, I can't remember, over 10. It was 15, something like that. I documented quite a few of them, and I was exploring a bunch of them. And then it came to me that, wait, this could all just be the same realm. It's just different locations in the realm, because every time I went to that realm, I was in a new location. I don't know how that never crossed my mind. It was very amateur theory at the time. It was not very good. And I'm glad I've moved past that. I've learned a lot from that. And so now I call them realities instead. It just makes more sense to me. And I know that there's at least 2. It's hard to say whether there could be more or not. I just know that there is at least 2. All of my experiences can be explained with 2. I wouldn't have thought that back then, but it's very clear now that all of my experiences and everything can be explained with 2 realities. It doesn't have to be any more than 2. So, yeah. 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 So, yeah. Yeah. So as I continue to make progress, I notice it feels like these, this is back talk number 2, I think it was. It's just one thing. I don't know if I mentioned this. I don't think I mentioned this in talk 2, but my brain has been getting foggier and foggier lately. This is another way that MFR is trying to fuck with me and make everything more difficult, is that my memory has just been getting worse and worse and worse lately. And it's just really bad at this point. But anyway, back to my contemporary theory. Those are the basics of it, really. There's a whole lot more to it that I'm going to have to cover in future talks, but those are the basics of it, really. And then, everything else should start to kind of make sense if you understand the basics, at least. And I'll get into more specific stuff in the future, but those are the basics.